I'd like to call this meeting of the City of Elkhorn Common Council to order. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Roll call, please.
Tim Schroeder,
Here.
Peter Harvey,
Here.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Here.
Ron Dunwoody is absent, Scott McClory,
Here.
Ken Minell,
Here.
Dan Roberts.
Here.
Next, we have public comment. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard during public comment? I need to read a statement, and then we'll let you go. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes each. The public may speak on any item of city concern, whether or not the topic is included on this agenda. However, if the topic does not pertain to an item listed on the council agenda, the council is not permitted to address or discuss the matter during this meeting. Under open meeting laws, the council must notice an item on the agenda to allow discussion on that matter. If council is not permitted to discuss your concerns, your comments will be considered and may be placed on a future agenda for further discussion. So if you'd come up and state your name and address, and you've got 3 minutes. Yep.
My name is Kurt Hintz. I live at 2915 Moulter Drive in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. I'm interested in developing a parcel of land that is next to the Love's truck stop, known as lot number 81. On the agenda, it says lot number 80, which is the tax key ending in 002, specifically to develop a truck wash. That would be a 24/7 full-service truck wash for not just semi-trucks, but any larger than normal vehicle that cannot fit into your typical quick trip type of truck wash. It would be fully automated as well. We have an offer submitted to purchase that from the city and would like your consideration. Anything else? Thank you.
You bet, thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard? Asking again, anyone? Seeing no one, we'll close public comment.
Mr. Mayor, is
Yes.
it possible we can move up item 11B in front of everything else?
If it was up to me, I'd just soon just rattle through it. It'll be quick.
Okay.
It'll be quick. I'll get confused.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Next, we've got the consent agenda, council meeting minutes of October 6th, and finance and judicial minutes of October 9th.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. We've got bills payable in the amount of $4,952,536.89.
I make a motion to approve the bills at that number listed.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Dan Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes to pay the bills. Report of city officers, the mayor's report, I really don't have anything other than I'd like to thank Chris, and I'm sure Matt was working down at Oktoberfest too, and his guys. Thank you for all your hard work. I understand it was a great success. City administrator.
My main update is just to remind everybody about Beast Fest this weekend. So that starts Friday through Sunday. So kudos to our Park and Rec department for putting a lot of time and effort on that, and hopefully the weather cooperates. So hopefully I'll see some of you there. So.
Thank you, Adam. And now we've got an update from the city clerk.
So we received 11 applications towards the end of September for Everlight Solar, and these were direct seller applications. This is the same company that we took to L&R towards the end of last year. I believe it was December. for some complaints that we had received for an applicant. And during our LNR, the committee had decided to let their licenses expire. Now that they are reapplying, I wanted to give an update that, speaking to Elaine's office, we created a statement for all the applicants to sign. I did attach it to the agenda for you to all read over with conditions. So I don't know if you all had the chance to read it. All of the 11 applications we did perform a background check, and they all did come back as okay, and Sergeant Croak did recommend approval. So I don't know if there was any questions, concerns.
Do they have to come back before LNR for this new permit?
Not necessarily. That's part of why we put the statement together. Seeing every applicant would need to sign this as long as a lead from the company, and they would need to obey everything on this statement before we issue any licenses.
Okay.
Does anyone have an objection to just letting Rebecca take care of it with the statement and issue the licenses if they're approved? I don't think that this isn't something the council has to approve. If you approve them,
Tim, could you?
No, it's, sorry.
3 buttons, hit the three dots. There you go.
No. No. It's lit. Am I on now?
Nope.
Am I down?
No.
I'm sure this all revolves around the web-based crash that we had this morning across the country.
All right. So no, this is a determination made by the clerk under your ordinance. It's the first step in an appeal. And in the determination that was made, it was decided to deal with past conduct by making sure the new applicants are aware of what the rules are and the results if those rules are not followed. So there's no action that's needed by the council.
okay. Cool. Any objections? We're good. Rebecca, you take over. Next, we have reports of city boards and community partners, fire advisory.
We have a meeting this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the firehouse, sir.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Library.
So I also would like to thank our Public Works Department for helping us with our massive furniture move this morning. We were able to move everything out in preparation for beginning phase 2 of our grant project. The new youth services area will be opening to the public with limited capacity on Monday, October 27th. During this current phase, the southern end of the lower level, the storytime room and the staff workroom will be marked off limits. Staff has relocated to several different areas of the library, so if you're looking for someone, just let me know and I'll tell you where they are. So that's where we are. We're about to begin phase 2, so everything's going well. So thanks for your patience.
Okay, thank you, Chad. Rec advisory.
Yes, the next Park and Rec Board is on Wednesday, October 29th at 5:30 p.m. here at City Hall. And the next Band Shell Ad Hoc Committee meeting is Tuesday, December 2nd at 5 p.m. at City Hall.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Chamber of Commerce, Chris.
Good evening, and first of all, thank you for all the departments, Public Works, Fire, EMS, Police, and all of those that assisted in making Oktoberfest a great success. We estimate anywhere between 6,000 and 7,000 people based on product that goes out and by, we had shoppers. We had some secret shoppers in the audience attending all of the different locations, seeing how the other businesses did during that. All of them were very busy at multiple ones that serve food. There was sometimes a 45 minutes or longer wait to get a table. So that's a great thing for our community. And we've only heard very positive things. We did have one parking issue with a business that wasn't open last year, so people, I think, felt they could park there.
Oops.
Pardon?
I said oops.
Yeah, so we just have to remind them about some signage and go from there. But moving on to the next upcoming events, well, I will be assisting Beast Fest with helping out the Park and Rec Department with Brews for the Beast, or Brews with the Beast. So my staff and I will be down there assisting with that. And believe it or not, after that, we have to start talking about some holiday stuff. Our office has now shifted. We assist the community with 2 different community meals, a Thanksgiving meal and a Christmas meal. And then we have all of our different Christmas items that we have going on. We have a tree lighting, a Christmas parade, a Santa's kind of different reception, because we can't use the library and we have to use different things. And newly added will be a winter market that will take place in our office for the months of December, January, and February. On the 1st and 3rd, we found that some of our vendors from Saturdays on the Square wanted to know how to get their product out to the public, whether it be a sourdough or the jams and jellies, different things like that. So we are opening our building like we have done, and there will be a winter market in there for the community to utilize. I'm checking all my notes here. And that looks like all I have going on right now. So again, thank you very much for the city and their support and their staff. There's certain things that 2 women of the chamber cannot move, called ticket booths and 120 bicycle gates and things like that. So Matt, thank you for your staff. They did a great job.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Did I see Katie sneak in here? Impeccable timing.
I know. I was going to say, she was at a county board meeting.
I was at a county board meeting that just ended, and I rushed on over here. The county board was discussing the building assessment of the government center in our town square. I went on behalf of the city of Elkhorn just as a listener and observer. I was asked to speak. I talked about how grateful we were to the business of the downtown and how much they were able to provide to shop in our coffee shops, to eat in our restaurants, and that we were very interested in hearing about the future of the building and their plans there. I can't officially speak for the county, so I'll let them issue their judgment as to what happened at the meeting, but I thought it was very positive for Elkhorn. I just wanted to mention the project with the library has been going fantastically well, working with the state. I just got back from the Historic Preservation Conference, where I got a lot of great information about historic preservation commissions and how they work among city governments. So I have a lot of recommendations for our local HPC and zoning department about that. And then lastly, the closeout of South Wisconsin Street EEDA grant projects. If you have had the chance to go down South Wisconsin to see the Pizza Alley looks a bit different now, 30 South, that's in part because of your efforts with the funding that you supply as the catalyst to get those changes happening. And then 2224, which is the Queen Nails and the Flitcroft-Kuhn law firm, is going to be, it started last week with the painting. It's going to go with windows over the next couple of weeks. So lots of good things happening. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we've got a committee report from Financial Judicial.
Yes, we met on October 9th of this year. We talked about the city budget, and we did decide to move that forward to council in a preliminary stage for further review. We also discussed ordinance 2025-15, which is on tonight's agenda regarding mobile food vendors. And we also talked about insurance situation with CVMIC for 27 and 28, which we decided to move forward to council for approval.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Next, unfinished business. We have a discussion regarding proposed 2026 to 2030 capital improvement plan. Did everybody see that? You got any questions, any changes from 2 weeks ago?
The only change was, the only changes we have are, one, we delayed the bearing of the overhead lines on South Lincoln Street by another year from 26 to 27, and that's just due to some staffing changes in the electric department, so they don't think they necessarily have the experience to be able to do it. Also with other projects they have going on right now. So that was one change. Second change was we do have some excess bond funds from 2023, close to $700,000, and there was a breakdown in your packet as to where those came from. So those are going to be applied towards the bonds that we'd be issuing next year. So it just is going to reduce the amount of geo debt we'd have to issue for next year. So that has been reflected in the updated CIP. So those are the two big changes.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, we'll move on to item B is a discussion regarding the condition of the property at 504 West Court. We've got an update on that?
Yeah, I could just say that the chief and I, along with the fire chief, met with, well, I should say we met over at the PD station with the representatives of the owners of the former Lakeland School property. It was kind of a last minute. We got a call on a Monday and they wanted to meet with us on Tuesday, so we rearranged our schedules to make sure we could go over there and talk to them. We took a tour of the property. Again, it was just impromptu. Since they were here, we just said, hey, can we get a tour while you're here? So the building inspector met us over there. Again, it was I guess I'd just say an interesting tour. Since that time, had a follow-up meeting with them last Friday. They stopped by, kind of unexpectedly. Actually, I think it was the Friday before that, and they've requested that we meet with them again this Wednesday to talk about their proposed reuse of that property. They're looking at trying to do a nursing home is what they've talked about repurposing that property for. But that's kind of where we're at right now. So we'll see how the meeting on Wednesday goes. Give you an update on that. So, and at least we do have some contact information now for not only the owners, but some of their, we've got multiple contacts now, which makes it helpful. So.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions, any comments on that? All right. Next, we've got discussion regarding Welcomette response to the city's application for new sanitary sewer connections for Creekside and Welcomette's communication regarding upcoming application for a new sanitary sewer connection for the Sugar Creek Ridge homes.
I'm going to just defer to Matt to this one. I'm going to defer to Matt on this one.
Yep. So last time the council met, Boardman Clark's office prepared a letter that was sent over to Welcomette's attorney, which they received on Thursday of, not last week, but the week prior to that, which would be 10/9. Welcomette had their commission meeting the following week, Monday, which was 10/13. So their attorney stated that they received the letter, but he didn't have a chance to really go over it in full detail. He did discuss the general premise of the letter, but no action was taken regarding the letter that was submitted by the city's attorney or representative. Their commission president, Lagerman, did state that at this time the commission would not be taking action on sewer extension until further evaluations and recommendations have been considered regarding addressing peak flows. And that all goes kind of hand in hand with the technical memos that they've been discussing. So they reviewed technical memo number 1 at the 10/13 commission meeting, which kind of discussed the sewer peak flow issue, more or less, just identified the issue. And so there wasn't any action taken. They just kind of reviewed the issue at hand. And they mentioned that they'd be preparing 2 other technical memos. Technical memo 2 would be in collaboration with the city. They mentioned that they would be having workshops with us in November and bringing that back to the commission sometime in December for a final draft. And then from that, for technical memo 2, they would be reviewing alternates to create resolution for addressing the peak flow issue. And then technical memo 3 would provide an alternative concept plan for how to address the issue. So that's kind of how Welcomette's addressing it. It's in line with an update that they would propose as a part of their conceptual plan for the plant. They're about renew. It's about time for them to update that. So that's kind of how they're preparing these series of technical memorandums. They could all be wrapped together in one report. From that, I would just say, stay tuned and we'll keep you up to date with regard to the conversations. We continue to engage both to help us kind of navigate this and reviewing the technical documents. When we did see the technical memorandum number 1 in the packet, I met with both virtually, and we prepared a response to the memo and supplied that to Welcome and stated that before it was finalized, that we'd like to meet with them to discuss some of the data that was included in that technical memorandum. So that's my update for this council meeting.
Anyone have any questions for Matt? Okay, thanks, Matt.
You bet.
Next, we've got new business, a discussion regarding the proposed 2026 city budget and levy. Is this you, Adam?
I suppose so. So since the F&J meeting, we did respond with some of the information, or provided the information that the committee wanted us to provide in terms of, one, the amount of legal fees that we're budgeting for 2026, which are $210,625. And as I mentioned in my memo, we don't budget specifically just for the city attorney's office, because obviously our legal fees applied for, personnel, which we use bond reason. So, as well as sometimes we use other legal services, including Boardman and Clark, has been mentioned. So that's the total for that. The PD is working on gathering the data about the sheriff's office in terms of their calls and what exactly they've responded to. So the goal is to have for the November meeting. We do have the information about what the impact would be on increasing water and sewer rates on individual, or I should say the typical household. So that's in the packet. One of the things I'm looking for, I guess we'd be looking for feedback on is, what if any water rate increase you want to include for 2026, but also, what sewer rate. We gave a couple of options for you. There's a chart in your council packet showing the different options and what the impact would be on the budget. And depending on, if you were to approve a, rate increase in January, certainly the rate would be lower than if you approve the rate increase in, let's say, March. And so we could close the deficit barely by approving a 5.8% increase as of January. If you push that back to March, it'd be closer to 7%. And then those would be the two lowest amounts that you could possibly approve that would close the deficit based upon our estimate. One thing we will have to see too is, obviously the council has approved trying to do the AMI project to get as many new meters as we can for the water department. And because of those, with the intent that hopefully you're going to capture more water revenue that might be getting lost. So that would obviously impact the sewer department because sewer rates are impacted on the water consumption. So if we are able to get more water consumption registered with AMI meters, that would help the sewer fund. So maybe that might, generate more revenue than we're anticipating. But right now, that's just kind of speculative. So at this, so we are going to need some feedback from the council on what, if any, rate increases you want to include for next year's budget.
So when are the meters going to be done? Yeah.
I would predict it'll take at least all 3 years, unless I can get 2,500 approved, which I don't think that's going to happen out of the gate.
Well, it wasn't so much the cost of getting them approved as much as Don thought realistically you could only replace like 700 a year-ish.
Be about like 850 a year.
Yeah.
That'd be manageable with everything else that we gotta take care of.
How many do we have left to install this year?
There isn't a number for this year.
Yeah, so this would be a 26, 27, 28 AMI replacement project.
And when do we plan on starting getting them next year?
I'd like to order them this year so they're here by the 1st and invoiced early in the year, but obviously the budget not being approved, I can't quite go ahead and do that yet. But that'd be the plan.
Okay.
And I was gonna go through the budget here this year, and if we got funds, I would present the idea of, or entertaining getting 100 to 200 this year, if we still could, in November, December, and try and do what we could.
Okay.
But I just gotta review the data yet.
Okay.
Anyone have any questions for
I guess just to kind of answer your question, because we're not voting on it, is you want to lessen the percent of increase, but, you know, so you probably want to look at doing it in January to lessen the blow, right? And then expedite getting these meters installed so we can understand what's truly happening, so we can minimize the impact long-term. That would be my thought, which is what we talked about several months ago, if I remember correctly, on these meters, maybe not.
We definitely talked about it in the context of the water, less so on the sewer, so, but yeah, that was kind of, I know when talking to Corey, we talked about, you know, potentially looking at a rate increase that would be on the lower end. I say lower end, but I mean, be sort of the bare minimum to eliminate the deficit, see what the impact is of replacing a chunk of meters next year, and see if we do see an increase in both water and sewer consumption, and then we can reevaluate next year. But there's no guarantee, again, that we'll see what we think.
I know there's only 2 guarantees in life, so.
Death and taxes, I think.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
Well, you know what my thoughts are, so I don't know about anybody else.
Do you want a formal motion tonight on whether to go in January or March, and the number is accompanying it, I believe?
I don't think we can.
Just say discussion and decision?
No.
Oh, never mind. I thought I'm looking at the wrong one.
So this will be coming back on the agenda for the rates?
Yeah, I mean, if there's I guess, consensus or feedback on, you know, what that rate increase could be. Since you're not looking to approve the budget as a whole and the levy as a whole, I mean, I'll certainly defer to the city attorney, but I would think you could at least probably vote on a rate increase as part of the budget. Because again, the budget is still gonna have to be approved, so you can change your mind, but if you just want to give us some direction on what to actually incorporate into the budget, so when we come back next meeting, it'll be in there.
What did you say, 5.8 in January?
Yeah, for sewer, yeah.
Or 7 in March.
Does that make sense to everybody, the 5.8?
Yes. Yeah.
Bring it up gradually? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that's the direction we're going.
Okay.
Anything further on the budget? Any questions?
I think, no.
Not yet.
All right, we'll move on. Thanks, Nate. Next, we've got discussion of possible decision regarding ordinance 2025-15, an ordinance to create section 12.17 of the Elkhorn Municipal Code titled Mobile Food Vendors. A first and possible second reading. Who'd like to start this?
Hi there. I talked to Attorney Rebecca Shepro from our office before the meeting. Apparently, there are some discussion items that the council needs to take up tonight. One was whether to keep the exemption under the proposed ordinance for sponsored events by the city or the Chamber of Commerce. Right now, the way that ordinance is drafted, those vendors approved by the Common Council for a special event or city-sponsored events or Chamber of Commerce-sponsored events would not need to get a permit. And so I think that was one discussion item.
That's what we talked about, was that the chamber city events, like an example, Oktoberfest, you know, that would be just a mess, I think. So they would not need the permits. That's what we asked to have in there.
Okay, good.
And sorry to interject, but I know that the chief raised with me this morning about whether the fairgrounds would be exempted or not in terms of those events.
That's private property, isn't it? I can tell you, that was my job there, is that they do background checks. They gotta have insurance, you know, and I know the chief inspects them, so I think they do everything on their own that we're looking to do, from my point, but chief.
Yeah, that was kind of my point, I believe, was that I think we would maybe want to consider those events that are hosted at the fairgrounds property as well, like you are doing with the chamber events, that we would not want to regulate them, but I think currently you would be in this ordinance regulating them.
I guess one thing I think we should maybe put to rest or put to bed is if there's gonna be exemptions for the fairgrounds, city-sponsored events, community-sponsored events, Chamber of Commerce-sponsored events, who is this gonna apply to? The only people it's gonna apply to is the person who says, I'm not sponsored by anybody, I just wanna park at, the Quick Trip parking lot and sell tacos or whatever. So, I guess I wanna just work our way through that to understand, there's so many exemptions, the ordinance is really designed to, at least for me, the ordinance on its face was designed to capture a larger blanket of people, of groups of people, and now it seems like if we put all these exemptions in there, the only people it's gonna apply to is the person who has no quote-unquote sponsorship, and they just wanna back their waffle truck up at the affair on the square or whatever. Although that's a city or chamber-sponsored event, it's a bad example, but you see my point. And if everyone's okay with it, that's what we're doing by creating this ordinance. I wanna make sure you guys all are good with that. So.
Well, I think that's why I came up with the idea, is that, someone pulls in and parks a trailer, a food truck, and then leaves it there for 3 weeks, day after day. And, on the same street, real close to it, is a fast food restaurant. We have them, they pay taxes, they employees, everything. And that's how it all started, and that was my original thing, Scott.
Right, I agree. I understand. I just wanna make sure, I just wanna be fully transparent.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
So when we have these chamber-sponsored events, as an example, are there background checks done?
On ours,
Mm-hmm.
they have insurance. We don't submit for a background check, but I can tell you, almost all of them are local or have been participating at the fair or another event local. I mean, if you want me to have them submit, but what you're asking for in fees is just about more than what they pay me to cut. They will not come. This fee structure is, if they have to put, a $50 thing and a $250, and if I'm understanding it right.
Well, $50, I think, was a daily. So if they come in for Oktoberfest, it's just one day, right?
Mhm.
But that's a chamber event, so they're exempt.
That's not what I'm asking.
Okay.
I'm asking, do they do background checks?
Right.
And do we inspect those trucks? No. So there's other exceptions.
Well, I thought if the event is less than 5 days, Chief can answer this, go on the inspection rule. I can't see you, Trent. There's a podium in my way.
So if I'm gonna bring my truck in, and I'm gonna do a daily pass, it's $50. I have to have background check, and I gotta have my truck inspected for 1 day. But what's this 5-day thing? We didn't talk about that at the committee. That's something new. What is that? Just trying to understand.
My trucks I can guarantee all the trucks that are there have been inspected. They all have a Wisconsin health inspection.
A state inspection, not a
A
local.
state inspection, correct.
They have the Wisconsin state
Mhm.
inspection, but not, what we're talking about was the fire and the background. Again, I'm just trying to understand. So then we're just having if you're not most of the time, to Scott's point, most of the time, we're not gonna deal with it. It's gonna be, one person comes in and wants to get a truck, park in a parking lot, then we're gonna make them go through all this stuff.
I think that was the idea originally, wasn't it? We wanted to regulate, make sure that the people that are coming in, more or less, are paying something because the people who own buildings here are paying everything, and they're just coming in to take advantage of the free space. So they end up being a direct competition to our local businesses without contributing back to any part of our government or our city. So I think the idea behind this is just so we can regulate people from just driving in and parking anywhere, setting up shop and driving away.
Right.
Is that right? I think that's what we're after. We just don't want, we could have 15 trucks pull into the city one day, have them all over the place, but at least this way, they have to at least come in and go through the process and get to do it. Not just someone who's driving through or passing through for the day or for the weekend and setting up shop. And that this way too, all of them, like all of our events, everybody has a state inspection on there in order to be able to sell food.
Then why should someone who's coming in here just to park in a parking lot have to go through a background check?
I'm not sure about the background check part. I don't know.
Can I address that? So the permit that someone would be getting from the city is different than the state. The state is licensing, you don't have authority in that area. So when they come in to get the permit from the city, there's an inspection that would be done by the fire department. And so there's no background permit that I'm seeing in here. There's an insurance requirement. So they have insurance, they get an inspection by the fire department, and that's it. In terms of operation on private property, so they would have to find someone, and usually they work in an agreement with somebody to rent or get permission to park on their private property. The way this ordinance is written, it's not like somebody can just leave their food truck on a public street unless it's part of a special event that's been approved by the common council. So it's not, there's no background check. You're just looking to make sure it's safe. You can't use this as a revenue enhancer either. The fact that you've got restaurants that are paying property taxes, I mean, that's really not the issue here. You're not trying to get payments in lieu of taxes or anything of that nature. Anything that you impose as part of the ordinance has to be related to your inspection obligations or the time that's required for the issuance of the permit. So we need to make sure that if someone were to challenge the amount, that we can say this is costing us money to go through that process. We're not trying to make money on this.
And we specifically discussed that. How much labor does it cost for an hour's worth of background or hour's worth of inspection? We covered that.
Right.
And we're just trying to cover our costs. We spoke about that specifically.
And I thought during the committee meeting, there was background check part of this discussion.
I agree.
Right?
I'm trying to find it now.
And there is, but if it's part of a city-sponsored event
No,
or
I know,
a
but-
chamber-sponsored event, it doesn't apply.
But he's saying it's not even in the ordinance.
Oh,
I thought it was.
We did it, yeah, of course, yeah.
I think it was
It's-
in
I
there.
just
in that
brought it up.
original.
Oh, where is it? Here.
What page is
Oh,
it?
here we go, back on.
Background check, right there.
3A, yeah,
3A.
yeah.
Page 4.
But again, that only applies to the person, I'm gonna use my words, the transient, not like homeless, but the person who just like comes down here from Madison and gets permission to park in Tim's Auto Body parking lot and sell lobster rolls like that, the Maine lobster people do. That one that's on Shark Tank. That's exactly what we're talking about here. It's not city sponsored. It's not sponsored by Chris and the chamber. So they're like, well, why do I have to go through a background and pay all this money to the city? Nobody else has to do it. I don't have an answer for them.
Chief, who does the background check? That'd be the PD?
If it's on the applicant itself, it would be us. We would be, usually as part of like, going back to the transient merchant, that would be coming to us for a background check of like previous places where they have done business, as well as just the state of Wisconsin criminal history background check.
How long does that take? A background?
As far as for the person responsible to do it, well, there's gonna be a couple different people. The first would be the secretary as far as getting a hold of those agencies where they've done business in the past and reaching out to those locations. And then compiling that information and also submitting the information to the state, and then the officer reviewing that information and then completing the form with the results. So I would say it depended on the applicant, first of all, and what kind of background they have. I would say if no one has much, I would say anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour, depending on the applicant themselves.
But going through the whole process, start to finish,
Correct.
is an hour, or more than that. Because what if the people that you're reaching out to, not everybody's just sitting at their phone just waiting for the city of Elkhorn to call.
Correct. I mean, to a certain extent, we're at the grace of the agency we're requesting the information from. So from a Milwaukee, maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. So it all depends on that.
And thanks for bringing that up. In addition, someone is going to have to be reviewing the background check that's obtained to make sure that it's related to this particular permit. So it's talking about a health risk, fraud, misconduct, or abuse. So you'll have to look and you know, if the person has violations, making sure that it's substantially related to the permit before you'd make a decision to deny.
Well, does it make sense to remove the background check from the ordinance then?
I personally am not in favor of that. But again, you're talking about 2 trailers out of 30 or 40 or 50 that come through the city every year regarding city-sponsored events or chamber-sponsored events that they will not have a background. They're going to be exempt.
And that's why I just asked the question, because if your goal is to try to standardize it across the board, then, you know, remove it and it'd be standard, because most trucks that are coming for private events are going to be inspected at least by the state, if not the fire department. So it should be at least more standard.
That's why I said we should have moved to the front.
If I can just jump in again, Rebecca did make some changes that were requested by staff that are may not be reflected on what you have on your screen. In terms of insurance, before it said that the city should be named as an additional insured. That's now been changed to the city shall be named as an additional insured. Applications for renewals have to be submitted now 30 days prior to July 1st, was the recommendation from staff to change it from 15 to allow more time. There was all areas within 5 feet is what you have in front of you of the mobile food establishment must be kept clean, and staff recommended that that be changed to 10 feet. So those changes were sent over by Rebecca. I believe that's the substantive changes.
There's one other thing that it was, if they buy a $250 yearly permit and they come and they park in a parking lot that we didn't have, or I didn't see it anywhere, where they could be there from, you know, from 9 to 9, but they would have to leave and take it away that night, and then they could bring it back the next morning or the next day. So we don't have them sitting in the same place for 3 weeks at a time, you know.
Right, and that's a great question. The state does require that they go back every night to their service base. Yeah.
Okay.
Now they could do that and come back, and you know, you may have issues. So if you get into the situation where you have some of the communities are allowing several food trucks to go on one property, like a food truck court, you can attach additional conditions so that it just doesn't become a storage yard for unused food trucks, right?
Can I say one thing? Adam and I spoke about this a few hours ago. Are we able to incorporate that into the ordinance?
Yes, I think the council could move to approve the ordinance subject to the revisions being made that have been discussed, and as sent over by Attorney Shepro. I think you probably received a copy of that?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
I think what Rebecca was trying to just identify is to Alderman Minell's concern about the trucks parking overnight, even if it's prohibited under state code, it would make it a lot clearer for not only city staff, city, aldermen and the public to be able to read the code and see that in there. So just to eliminate any ambiguity. So we would suggest changing, actually incorporating that into the language of the code.
And what if we have a city-sponsored event and it's a 2-day event? They're gonna have to take their trailers back to Broadhead for the night and bring them back the next morning for the 2-day event? Or again, are they gonna be exempt because it's a city-sponsored thing?
Yeah, they're exempt.
Okay.
Well, no, I think that they're subject to the state requirements, so you really don't have any authority to alter that. So if the state requires them to go back to their service base at night, they have to do that and come back. Now, whether the state has some sort of a waiver process or variance process, I don't know. But
What do we do now, Chris? Do we let them leave their trailers there if they're coming back the next day for day 2?
Well, I actually don't have a 2-day.
You don't have any?
Not that, it's
Okay.
2-day that park over,
Okay.
but there are, I'm thinking of events that do, and they are stationed there, yes, overnight. I mean,
Yeah,
The night before.
yeah,
right.
well,
Logistically, to move all those trailers out and then move them back in the next day
is
would be a
a
difficult.
logistic, like, I have food trucks that come in Friday night for Oktoberfest, but they are staged somewhere else. They're not on our streets the night before.
That's okay. I mean, they're not, they're not downtown, parked somewhere where they would be overnight.
Yeah.
Staging them in an area.
So I pulled up the fact sheet from the DATCAP on mobile food establishments, and they just reiterate that mobile food establishments must return to service base at least every 24 hours unless operating at a special event with services available. So I think what they're trying to do is make sure that if you're serving food, you have an ability to keep it cold, but if it needs to be kept cold, and hot if it needs to be kept hot. So if you had a situation where they had access to those facilities and it was at a special event, then that seems to be an exception. But otherwise, they have to return to their service base at least every 24 hours.
Is there a reasonable compromise for including a police background check? And I'm just throwing something out here, like once every X amount of time for even those trailers that are here for city-sponsored events or chamber events, so that we know these people have been backgrounded before we put them in our city. I think to just give them a complete pass is setting us up for failure. I'm not in favor of that. I know it might cost, Chris's vendors $50 once every other year or whatever we do, but I think we owe it to the city to have some kind of a background check if they're gonna be here and interacting with the public.
I guess my question would be on background check on the owners or the workers, because that's a whole other.
What do we do at the fairgrounds?
They have to have a list, all right, of their workers.
Okay,
And that's turned in, and then they do a check.
okay.
Now, I don't know how in-depth they do, okay? It's done by Delvin, because that's our security, the chief over there, our security department. If they do a total background check on all that, or I just asked the chief, I said, can you go in and pick this and pick that? I don't know.
Well, I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, chief, I would assume it starts with going to CCAP and just doing a records check.
I CCAP all my volunteers,
Okay. Again, it would begin with that,
Right.
so,
but I have not requested that of my, of my food vendors.
when you've done the CCAP review, which is obviously public information, have you ever found any that you're like, oh, wait, no, you're not coming in?
No.
No, nobody's been disqualified, okay.
Should go across state line.
I'm sorry?
Should go across state line,
Right,
background check.
so, I don't know.
Food truck owners or employees as well.
So the way the ordinance is drafted right now, it says if you're, any person desiring to operate a mobile food establishment has to apply for the permit, and they're getting the background checks. It doesn't say that every person that's employed by that person would also have to go through a background check. So just so you know, that's what it states right now.
So the way we have it, if I own the trailer, they're gonna check on me.
That's
But
it.
I could have 6 people working for me, and 5 of them could be wanted, right?
Right,
You
yeah.
know? Wow, but, so.
It would appear that we're not ready to move forward with this ordinance, in my opinion.
I agree.
No, we're not.
Just a thought, to play devil's advocate here, if these brick and mortar fast food places hired an employee, the city doesn't run a background check on them.
You're right.
So you're holding these trucks to a different standard than the brick and mortar place. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
What Chris just suggested, what she does, would that be enough? Would that satisfy us?
That's only in the state, what she said. It, you know, if
If
I come
they've got
from.
priors in Illinois, you're never gonna know about it. Going to CCAP, that's a Wisconsin thing.
Right, I understand that.
And to get beyond that, you've gotta have police credentials to do a nationwide NCIC search.
And we cannot do a background check out of state for criminal. We can only do state records. So we still would not, to your point, be able to get out of state for employment purposes. That's not an authorized use of our communication devices.
I make a motion to send this back to committee.
I second.
Yeah.
We got a motion and a second, any discussion?
Kinda think
All in
that-
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Back to committee it goes. Next, we have a discussion of possible decision regarding renewal of a public entity liability coverage from CIVMIC for 2027 and 2028.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Dan Roberts,
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, we've got discussion of possible decision regarding the proposed ordinance number 2025-16, and ordinance to approve the specific implementation plan for Phase 1 of Sugar Creek Ridge, Newman Development, a planned unit development overlay district located on a vacant lot south of Northwest County Road H and near Hazel Ridge Road for use as a single-family residential subdivision, and to extend the PUD GDP for future phases of the development. So it's the SIP plan for this development. It did go through Planning Commission and was sent to the council with their approval.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion, a second?
There is a blank in here that needs to be filled in. It's on page 2, and it's the time of compliance. So right now, this is an SIP for Phase 1, and it's being suggested that the developer have some date by which they have to submit their specific implementation plan for the next phase. In the email that I saw from Attorney Ekus to staff, she's suggesting that you'd probably want to give them at least 24 months. You could possibly go to 36 months, but just to have something out there so that this thing isn't just hanging out there.
I amend my motion to 24 months.
Yes.
That'll work. It sounds like you're,
Well, I just was gonna ask, the developer is in the audience, so I guess I would just, if council would be open to getting their feedback on whether the 24 months works for them or
We
not.
just did a first and second, so we can discuss it more. So,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
got a first and second. Yes, sir.
Hi, Eric with Newman Developments, North 27, West 24025. 24 months is fine. Honestly, we'll be in before that.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so we've got a motion and a second, and I think the motion was amended to
24 months.
reflect the 24 months.
And seconded.
Second, okay.
Can I make, I believe that there are some conditions that that the Plan Commission approved this on. Should it include those conditions then as well?
Yes.
What are they?
There was a whole list of conditions by the,
Exhibit B has a list of all the conditions.
Where's that at in relation to this exhibit? Behind that one? I don't have that in the packet.
It's in front of it, Matt.
Okay,
Page 120
thank you.
is the end of it. $114.
So there's a list of the conditions, and I'm sure that these were all discussed at the Plan Commission level, I would assume, but I wasn't there for that one.
And since this is an exhibit, this is an exhibit on the ordinance, so it's already part of the ordinance by you.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yep. So any further discussion? We've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we're going to adjourn to closed session. I'll read the statement here. The common council may entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. It's a discussion regarding notice of claim from Phil Schultz from Bulk Material Trucking is one item. The second item is discussion regarding the recent sale of land located at 120 East Connor Drive, with subject to development agreements with the city. And then lastly, the common council may entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.851E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating an offer to purchase on public property. The tax key number is YA 501-600-002, lot 80, and lot in TID District Number 4, part of Tash and Love's Travel Plaza Development. We will be reconvening into open session. Could I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Dan Roberts.
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, we're back in open session. Our first item is the claim from Phil Schultz.
I make a motion to pay the claim from Mr. Schultz.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Dan Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we've got discussion and decision regarding the offer to purchase on Lot 80 in the Love's Travel Plaza development.
I make a motion to approve, but adding the features of our 3-year requirement as far as getting our standard template that we've been adding, and then the other things that the attorneys were working on.
I'll second that.
And the only thing I would just mention is it is lot 81, so the tax ID, the tax ID number's right, yeah.
All right, 81.
Aye. Yep. Lot 81, the correct tax ID is my motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ken Minell,
Yes.
Peter Harvey,
Yes.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Dan Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. And then lastly, we have the discussion about the recent sale of 120 East O'Connor. And I believe no action was really taken on that. Staff is going to develop it further, so that may be coming back around. So that's it.
Yep.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're good.